Yeah, this is the new thing. Stop that. Thank you. There we go. You got to do 2 different things to get YouTube up and running now, which is a little weird. I'm just gonna put that out there. It is a little weird. Make sure YouTube's up and running. We appear to be live. That's good. I'm going to up this a little. I lowered it because of other reasons, but now I think I'm going there. And then now we check to make sure that Twitch is still up and running. Or rather, we're going to start Twitch. So, boop. Nice. Then we turn this on, make sure Twitch is up. No, I don't care about these other people. Take me to my channel. Do you think I care about these other people right now? We are good to go. Both of them are up and running. Chat only. Boop. Leave Twitch chat here. We're good to go, y'all. I have, in fact, been messing with the sound a little bit. So, if the sound gets wonky, like you can't hear the other DMs, or for some reason you can't hear the background music, please do let me know, and I will tweak it to make sure everything's okay. I did lower it for other games I was filming. If you're a channel member, you know I've put up a whole bunch of videos of other games. Horizon Outpost Station? Oh, I'm getting this so confused because my brain wants to say Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West, and my brain like won't let me process the correct words, which is annoying, and I apologize. Oh, I see what's happening here. There we go. That's better. It's not. Yeah, that looks better. Still not quite right. But it is... Oh, it is actually shorter on the left than the right. Interesting. Okay, we're back to normal. Because for some reason, a Chrome window is not like your resolution size. But what I was going to say is Horizon Outpost Station Outpost. Oh, I should know this. I did play it for a little bit. It doesn't have any audio settings, so I had to manually lower the incoming volume because it was deafening. You would not have been able to hear me over it. There would have been no way. So settings are tweaked. Please let me know if for some reason you can't hear the other DMs or the background music is too loud. That I can easily fix. That is coming in from a different Discord account, so I can easily mess with that on the Stream Deck. I do hope Jimbo comes tonight because this is clearly something he suggested at some point. 100%. I'm actually going to post about it in the Tabletop Schmabletop channel. So, throw it in there. Just, you know, before we get started, before the DMs come on by, just ping people and say, hey, come on and watch Archibald's Archive. Tonight we talk Artificers. And we're now live. My description on YouTube is so long. It's so long, but it has my schedule in it, which I think people will understand. I really need to change the Saturdays to fighting games, beat 'em ups, and or arena brawlers. Technically they're not fighting games. I guess technically they are fighting games. I don't know, but this is a separate genre. That's neither here nor there. players of all classes. It's neither here nor there. Just more silly things I think about all the time. Or I should make it more generic. Games where you punch people in the face. Listen. Sometimes you just gotta go in and mess around with stuff. It's me! I'm in the chat. And it's me! I'm in the chat. Let me see how this works. No, I don't want to do that. Let me do this. I want to give a message effect to... What is an emo party? I don't know what that means. What is happening? What is a message party? Is that new? I don't know what that means. Yeah. Oh, I see. Hold on, I can fix this. What is a message party? Oh, is that it? That's okay, I guess.
What happened?
It put a border around my text. That's apparently something you can pay bits for. But I'm guessing it's new because they moved it to the tippy top. I guess
Sounds
it's like super chat, but slightly different.
I don't know. That sounds like elven foolery to me.
A little bit. Okay, so I was watching. If any of you guys like know me, I'm 10 months behind on watching long YouTube videos. And I was watching.
Oh, trust me.
I was watching one of Josh Johnson's VODs from a stream he did a while back, and somebody sent him a tip, and he goes,
I feel like I know which one you're talking about.
He goes, wait a minute, what? You can send people money through here? Is this the thing you could always do? Is this new? What? Do I get the money? Where does it go? And I was like, I've never felt someone to this level.
That is very much you, though. That is exactly how the explanation of you paying someone back came up when we first became friends. We had gone to a dinner. Let me tell you guys a small tale of coming. We had gone to a dinner, and we were all getting ready to leave. The bill came, and all of us are like, "Oh, I'll just put it on my card." And then our one friend was just like, "No, I got it, guys. You guys just send me the money." And so all of us with, our phones, pulled out our phones. We started sending her money. And Okami looks at us and he goes, "I'm just going to give you cash because I don't know what you guys are doing."
I miss those days.
Those are good days. But we're in good days still. It's a roundtable day.
Got a whole supplement to go through this time. We'll see how far we get. I guarantee you, I don't think we'll ever have another 7-parter.
No. This might be 3. We're aiming for 3. At most, I think. I think we said. I think we can do this in 3 to 4.
I was looking at my homework bookmarks, and one of them is, I think it's actually the one that's underneath Archibald's, is like, here's a 300-page campaign setting. And I was like, I don't know if that fits into homework. That's more like a... yeah, like, that's more of a quarter project.
The 3-hour video, the 3-hour nonstop video where you finally release just the rules. But I am excited to take a look at Archibald's, our homework for today. I have my notes. They're much shorter and less detailed, so that I can bring up points quickly without droning.
We're trying to get better.
This is an active attempt at doing better.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how many scene changes or what have you we're gonna have going on, but definitely we're gonna get better about delivering our points.
We're gonna try. That's what the round table's all about. Learning.
Yeah. We learn, you guys learn, then we learn from you, then you learn from us learning from you, then we learn from you learning from us, from learning from you, from learning from us.
Then we become an Ouroboros of education.
That has to go on a shirt.
The Ouroboros of education.
Yeah, that has to go on a shirt. That's our new party platform, the Ouroboros of education.
The Ouroboros of education. That's how we like to market ourselves.
And the serpent is purple like Barney.
But you know what you do? You put the tail end with like the part of the graduation hat going one way and the diploma on the other.
Oh my god.
So he'll never get it. It's just a never-ending Ouroboros of education.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's what you come here for. That's what we really come here for. I've had a. This is a weird statement to say. Had a long day at work.
Ooh, that's different.
Yeah. I'm back to office work. Weird. But you're not gonna miss me here on the round table. Because my schedule is so I don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
Plus, this is my therapy. I get to talk about D&D and all things related to TTRPGs.
Speaking of schedules, I got a message in the middle of the night from Dungeon Mommy like 2 nights ago, and it was, I miss you. My schedule's about to change soon. Hopefully, I'll be back on Mondays. And I was like, okay. And then she disappeared into the ether again. I was like, oh, okay, bye.
Well, she's got kids, you know.
Gotta take care of them kids.
She is our dungeon mommy.
It's true.
Though, granted, it's a statement that I can only make here on the round table.
It's true. You don't want to be saying that out loud. No.
I mean, I would. It's me.
Oh, I mean, me and you, we would definitely be like, Mommy, in the store. That would be great.
Oh, 1,000%. Like, mommy, mama. Like, what?
I'm going to try to break this down since it is all one supplement. For those of you who watch the VOD later, I'm going to try to make sure that I break down like the segments of it, because otherwise it'll just be one segment that says Archibald's Archive.
One monstrous beast.
Such a big boy. And I know we made a joke. Well, not a joke, but we said we're going to try not to read everything out loud. But I think somebody has to read the intro to this because the intro is great.
I will happily read the intro on this one.
Good.
I'll happily read the intro to this because it is intriguing. And if you know me, IRL, you will know that I have an odd fascination with all things alchemical and alchemy related. So there are parts of this that absolutely tickle my fancy. That I want to.
As like a preview, the rest of y'all, there's also a section. There's an entire section, even though this is supposed to be about artificers and what have you. There's an entire like botany supplement built into this supplement, which is super cool. So I was like, oh, it feeds DM Shin's like druid behavior too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one day they'll properly make a class for me, I promise. If I haven't already tried to make it myself.
But before we get into anything, for those of you on YouTube, if you do want to follow along with us, you can always check the description of either the stream or the VOD when it's there later. The link's in the description. For those of you on Twitch, since we're going deep today, I'm going to share the link and I'm going to pin it for 1.5 hours.
Whoa. Whoa there, Nelly.
I assume we're going to talk about it the whole stream, but I can always edit the pin later.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the goal. So I'm pretty sure that's a good pin to have. That being said, should we go ahead and start getting it cracking? Or do you have some cool tales from the table for us here on the round table, Connie?
I haven't met with my player. The only thing I will say is I did say that I was going to. Oh, I can actually set the pin to just whenever I unpin it. Perfect. That's what we're going with. It's staying up there on Twitch. I didn't know that was an option. Boom. My only real tales from the table is it was the first time last session that my players got to like the new DMG had come out and new rules and what have you. And even the new PHB we haven't played since before that got released. So I made like a couple announcements about spells and what have you. And I was like, hey, there's been a lot of changes to how lay on hands works. And we have 2 paladins in our game. One of them's become a DM PC that I control, so it's irrelevant. But the other one is Grimjack. And Grimjack was like, oh, I got better? And I was like, I don't think I would call it better. And I was like, you do get to use lay on hands as a bonus action now, but you've lost any other benefits it might have had. And he was like, no, take it back. And I was like, let me finish. So what we're gonna, he was like, no, take it back. I don't want nothing new, please. No. And I was like, let me finish. And he's like, no, I don't want it. And I was like, hey, bonus action, you can heal people. The extra effects, full action. Because in new rules, lay on hands can only cure the poisoned condition. It doesn't cure disease or other things. Which also leads me to believe that we finally got, I don't know, like 2 years ago in one, I think it's in Fizbon's book specifically, they said if you pump 40 points of lay on hands, you can kill an illithid tadpole that is implanted in someone's brain. They have literally never said how you can kill a tadpole ever.
Yeah,
they slipped it in an illithid dragon stat block, and they slipped it on in. And I'm like, and you just took it away.
Like most things WotC does. Speaking of WotC, I will note not a tale from my table right now, but if any of you guys happen, or anybody listening to the VOD later on, happen to pick up the 50th anniversary of WotC attempting to celebrate D&D, I will warn you that WotC has taken to attacking early D&D as racially charged and misogynistic, amongst other things. Yeah.
Attacking who? What?
Gary Gygax and the early days of D&D. Also, what up, DM Lacara?
Hey-o!
Hey. Wait, so they're attacking their own origins?
Yes. So in the 50th anniversary book, they have some quips about how they've done work to change D&D over the course of the 50 years. And some of them, the quotes in the book that I've seen are attacking Gygax. Like, as everyone knows, or if you don't know, if you're unaware and you've never watched this, stream and or VOD before,
You haven't heard us be angry.
yeah, if you haven't heard us be angry just yet, this is where we get angry at WotC. But one of my least favorite WotC maneuvers, despite me understanding part of the reasoning behind it, is the deletion of a campaign setting called Dark Sun. It existed in ancient D&D days, and it's all about literally Mad Max gladiatorial wasteland desert world. To the point that casting magic drains life from the world, and there are literally people who preserve the life balance of the world by taking just enough. I love the setting. WotC has erased it because of some of the questionable content, which is understandable. It does deal with enslavement and things of that nature. Sorry, YouTube cops, I know you hate that word, but it does deal with some horrible terms, and the idea of half creatures in that world is a little questionable, but the setting itself and a lot of the things in it were pretty cool to understand. And WotC, because of that, deleted it. WotC will probably also never bring back a lot of things from it, like psionics.
Can we talk about how? Okay, first of all, I am willing to bet my house that the number of campaigns that were run with people trying to overthrow said system vastly outnumbered the number of campaigns that were like, yeah, this is cool, let's keep doing this.
The literal
1000%.
video games that they made connected to it that are old gold box games, as they were called, literally have you do nothing to perpetuate that in the world.
Of course.
And literally let you beat the bad guys.
Yeah, it's like if you I have real issues with this kind of censorship. Censorship. Period. I'm so angry I can't talk.
Understandable.
But when you remove these things, where nobody can mention them, nobody can talk about them, we're not saying it because the YouTube video will never get seen by anybody, even though the point we're making is that it's bad. And if you remove it and any discussion of it, all you end up doing is perpetuating history. You just doom yourselves to repeating it if you don't go, hey, you remember when this happened? This sucked.
Yeah,
let's not do it again.
Yeah, let's find ways to circumvent that.
Like, even if you go in thinking you're like my party, when we started the game, they ran into some slavers like right at the beginning, and they were like, oh, whatever. They basically captured a guy. They used him as a human shield for a really long time, and when I thought they were going to release him, our players that have like huge sticks up their asses immediately were like, release him. I'm going to slit his throat. This is a bad guy. And I was like, what now? Huh? Wait, huh? Oh, what? Hey? Okay.
Instant from adoption agency to murder hobos. Real quick.
Look, there's no way to turn an adoption agency group into murderers faster.
Yeah, very true. It is absolutely true. The speed at which.
There's a little paladin in every person in an adoption agency game.
I don't even run adoption agencies. That would probably happen. My murder hobos would turn more murderous. They'd be like, oh, this requires extra murder.
Yeah. And also, like, why would you bother removing, like, such an obvious, like, foe setting?
Yeah.
Like, if you have no bad guys, what are your good guys even doing?
We're not here to tell you can't run a bar or a tavern or restaurant, whatever you want, But I mean, it's pretty easy to be like, heroes, stop slavery.
Yeah.
Heroes,
Yeah.
stop despot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, evil dictator in the world, stop him. Maybe help some people out along the way.
Yeah.
It's pretty
But
simple.
I said that to say that is probably also in there. I didn't get to read to it, but one of the things they did attack is that early Gygax D&D was written by 5 guys in a basement, and that as such it is probably insensitive. To Watsy's claim, as someone who has played old D&D, there is this crazy thing called fantasy. And fantasy allows you to take things from things you want to play, like D&D, and say, hey, I'm going to change it. Now, to Gygax's defense, yes, of course, some of the stuff they did back then was weird, but it was the 70s and the 80s. Everything they did back then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in it, you know. If you grew up right after it, you also know. But that's not to say that things weren't necessarily questionable. But if you happen to do grab the 50th anniversary, ignore their attack on first edition, because first edition was exactly that. The very first time they wrote D&D, and it was as inclusive as it could be.
Yeah.
Because there was literally nothing that said every warrior, every fighter, thief, cleric, so on and so forth had to be male or female or however they wish to identify. There's nothing in there that said that. So,
I'm like, think about it
shame
this
on
way. For a game that came out of wargaming, where it's literally country versus country warfare, to make it smaller, obviously, slavery is a really easy way, or like seeing people subjugated, easy way to say this is why these people are rising up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, guys, it's been fun. I'm going over to Powered by the Apocalypse. I'll see you all
uh,
stream.
I did watch
The more
a
stuff we
primer.
put out. Go ahead.
So I did watch a primer on Mutant Crawl Classics, which is like an offshoot of Dungeon Crawl Classics, and I'm like, I mean, sure, but there's too many weird dice there. I'm never going over there. I don't want to deal with no D3s, which are just D6s, but only have 1 to 3 twice, and there's like D24s. Nah, bro, that's too many dice. And I love dice.
Warpland.
What you were saying, DM Lacara?
Oh, the more stuff WotC puts out, the more whenever somebody says WotC, I just see the Hydra logo in my head. That feeling's just getting stronger.
Listen, if WotC becomes Hydra, then we will become the, and we will stomp out WotC's madness.
Yep.
One angry rant at a time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But before we get into Archibald's archive, which we are definitely just about to do, is it just me, or is Sir Percival never spoken about? Like, never described? So there's a character in this supplement named Sir Percival who is apparently a homunculus, and he's never described, but he has magic items. Like, they never give you a stat block, they never show you a picture of him, and I'm like, but now I have to know. What is he? What is his? I need to know who this weirdo is. Okay.
I like that though, because it's kind of like Volo's guide before we ever saw Volo. We just got this fantastical guide, like Tasha's cauldron before we saw Tasha. like it's just these fantastical people who clearly have this knowledge that from a flavor stance, we can, like DM Lacara said, create them.
Yep. So at the end of this, I want to hear all of you guys' homunculus ideas.
I mean, my brain goes to mechanical octopus, but your mileage may vary.
There is a supplement within this supplement at the end on how to build your own golem.
Mechanical octopi does sound like
sick.
like a fighting good chance.
Think how fast they would be.
I'm thinking
Grapple, 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 grapple.
I'm thinking break down the homunculi into 6 smaller homunculi and make them all variant varmints. So like a squirrel, like for varying, like for each of the elements, and just have their eyes be my eyes.
That's awesome.
We're gonna have so much fun with this, y'all.
And they come together in like a whole like little Megazord thing.
Yes.
Yes, they form one giant animal and they all come together.
Yep.
I don't
I love
spoil
us.
too much, but
yeah.
there are offensive and defensive drones for the golems later on.
Don't tell James.
Oh, I know he feels it in his bones. But we
His
did.
ear is itching right now.
Oh yeah,
I hear it.
He
Someone's talking
just
about
tuned
artificers. I did ping him.
Honestly,
I don't know why he's not here.
I thought Okami, our artificer in my campaign, might enjoy some of this
Ooh.
if he was ever around.
Oh. I mean, we can send him the VOD later.
Yeah.
Get on the vibe, make a
So before you came on, DM Lacara, I was like, I know we said we weren't going to read anything out loud, but I have in my notes that someone should just read the intro for this so everyone can get a feel for it, because it's just nice and cute and filled with flavor.
I nominate Shin. He's good at
He
reading
already
stuff.
volunteered.
I will absolutely read a excerpt.
One thing I will say before we get into any of that and like look at the text, please just ignore the spelling errors. Not everyone is correcting their spelling and grammar, so there are some issues here and there. You don't have to.
It's readable.
You don't have to dote on this guy's or girl's or whatever's mistakes.
Yeah, we don't care. So
I'll put away my red pen. No, you know what it is? The flavor and the content is so good that I'm like, yeah, whatever about the spelling. If it was bad, I would be like, you did nothing right.
Yeah. The only issues gameplay wise that I can find are when there's a couple spells later on that there's clearly a sentence missing, and that tells me that they were editing it and then like got distracted. And I'm like, I'm not mad at you for that. I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you're human. No, but I will say from what I read, this is really good. I'm left a lot of chunks of it to my surprise, so I didn't delve too far into certain bits. But my notes are very heavy in the parts that I really wanted to tune into. And I left other things like certain tables that we'll find at the end of this that might inspire me later, up to complete chance so that I can be really, really blown away.
I only got a few pages in, so a lot of this is going to be gut reactions from my end.
Down for it. What's up, Arvin?
But to quote DM Okami, as always, to all guys, gals, and players of all races. Is it races? Classes. I'll get it right eventually.
I don't get it right, so don't worry about it.
And to our players of all classes, once again, welcome to DM Roundtable, where we show up to help DM Okami talk about D&D stuff, because we also really love talking about D&D stuff and hating on WotC together.
Yay!
You can find links in the description and merch. That being said, I'm going to start this intro. Behold, lords and ladies, For you are about to witness the brilliant, unmatched, wondrous Archibald the Great, me, obviously, as I, for the first time in the history of this land that I don't know the name of, present my adventurous inventions, or as I call them, adventions. Sit back, relax, and refrain from touching the pot. Should you feel any tingling, unexplainable pain, or unpleasant sensations, you may want to see a physician immediately. Signed, Archibald the Great. You may want to see a physician immediately. Kudos, Archibald. Kudos.
We are here for you.
Yeah, it goes on. Should I sum this part up, Okami, and let people read this? It goes on to give us a little bit about Archibald himself being an old, demented, they say slightly insane, but all geniuses are. I'd say genius mind. Archibald the Great, self-titled, and gives us a little bit of intro as to Sir Percival, which DM Okami had mentioned earlier, and we do hope to see all your cool ideas about it, and kind of what Archibald's been up to. It then gives us a little bit of an idea to use this. This looks like, I'd say, and Okami, you would know better, this predates 2024.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are definitely some ideas in here that I think could work better in 2024 as well.
I also think that I wouldn't say the person who was making this abandoned it, but they stopped updating it. And when you get closer to the end of the supplement, there's actually a disclaimer that's like, hey, I haven't had a chance to play test everything that I'm putting down here. These are just my ideas based on how I've played in the past. And please feel free to play test and let me know. But they don't seem to still be around on Reddit anymore, so I don't think that they're still dealing with this. But like, what's in there is pretty great. There's only like 2 things that I haven't put in my repository from here.
Well, to start us off, we get a great collection of character options for your Artificer, but I say great. However, DM Lacara, I'm going to let you tackle the start of this one, because I think you have some choice feelings.
Oh no.
A couple peculiarities, might you say?
I happened to mention before when I started reading this that I take personal offense to some of these, totally jokingly, because I have several of these peculiarities. So
Fight us through now.
Let's see, your options. So they said their description of the peculiarities. So usually in D&D, you get your like flaws, bonds, what the hell are the other ones? Ideals. Thank you. Yeah. So the things that like kind of help you build your character, like your character's personality, not their mechanics so much. So the peculiarities are kind of in addition to that. So some of the options that they provide are you are convinced that magic isn't real and everyone who claims to control it must be a fraud. That fireball was definitely just a flame grenade.
This is Reed Richards in a nutshell.
In
Marvel Comics. That's how Reed Richards thinks.
I'm thinking this is like Dana Scully in D&D.
Also, yeah.
This is like no, that wasn't magic. Nope, prove it.
Yeah, like good try. Nice attempt, but we know that's not real.
They're literally the only one that doesn't believe in it. I love the idea of a character like this in D&D.
Like that builds so much flavor on your character because then they're just like talking. They're just constantly talking about how like, oh, if you put like some of this element and this element together, then you get that same reaction. Clearly you're not doing magic. No, like god or goddess has given this to you.
But this also makes it so that if this is the way your person in your party plays, and they're putting them in a scenario in which everything is centered around like the deities, makes their character so much more fun to play again, I think, as a
Yeah.
DM. Because here you have a player that's just like, the goddess wakes you up in the middle of the night, and like you guys are all having a dream, like all the players are having a dream, and it's like, the goddess has linked our dreams. This person's like, no, we're clearly having a shared hallucination caused by something that occurred last night,
Who
giving
put
us
mushrooms in the soup?
yeah, like there's some kind of hallucinogenic that has caused us to share this fever dream, in which we'll probably all believe we had but never actually did. Great job.
Yep.
And I'm sure this goddess is just the random hallucinogenic forming, making shapes in my head. I want to play that character now. Actually, secretly, I think that might be part of my next character.
Honestly, you don't have to be an artificer to think any of these. So don't just think, oh, this is. Later on, we'll get into some stuff that has nothing to do with artificers. So again, and again, no one's gonna stop you. Pinkertons aren't coming to your house if you put this in one of your other characters.
I dare them.
I also like number 6. If it works, it works. I don't need to find out why. That is the ultimate suspension of disbelief character, which is great if you're brand new.
Oh, see, I read that, and the immediate words that came into my head were like accidental necromancer.
Accidental necromancer.
Later on, one of the subclasses gets raised dead, and my notes are just, what?
It's like, oh, whoops.
Oh, is that how I was doing that? Huh.
I feel like that's too great. So you missed. I think you missed the first one, because I think accidental necromancy. Once again, we need to put it on a shirt somehow. But we also came up with the Ouroboros of education, which
it's a purple snake.
So Okami was going. So we were talking about stuff at the beginning, and we were just like, but it's okay because we're all here to learn. And Okami goes, yeah, because when you learn. Because you learn a bit when we're here, and we learn. And then what you learn, we learn. And then what we learn, you learn. And he kept going back and forth, and I was like, it's a never-ending cycle. I was like, so you're saying it's an Ouroboros of education. And we literally pictured a snake with part of his graduation cap going into his mouth.
Yep.
And the other end holding the diploma.
Yep.
And that just tells me that if you haven't seen some of the cool ideas that Lacara has put up on our the merch page, you need to go check out some Okami merch.
Yeah. And there will probably be more before the end of the night if last week.
Knowing us, there always is.
I'm already building the prompt for the Ouroboros of education. It's gold.
And as an added bonus, there's a huge sale on Redbubble right now for Cyber Early Access Week. Plus, if you happen to use Rakuten, which used to be Ebates, you also get 10% cash back on some purchases. So you're getting money off, and you're getting money back in your wallet. Highly recommend.
Where better to get money back than here on this?
It's true.
Yeah.
Shameless self-promotion. I will say though that there's a certain aspect of number 3 that I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Where if you see any kind of apparatus anywhere, you study it as long as you study it until you understand exactly how it works. There's just something about like this artificer who's never seen like certain things work, or like running into some unknown like spelljammer like technology, and just battle going off all around, and him or her just sitting there and just going, but how does this work? Like, we need your help.
There.
That's
like,
two of my players in a nutshell.
They're like, yeah, that's crazy. There's a fire behind us. Sure, yeah, take care of that. But while you're doing that, I need to figure out how this thing does what it's doing.
This is like the kid that was brought up like in the super rural area that like taught themselves artificing to like fix farm equipment
Mm-hmm.
and now is like,
Mm,
exploring some sort of ancient dungeon or something and is like, whoa.
There is
just
also
having a
so much
blast.
flavor. There,
Yeah.
there's also so much flavor behind the term farmhand artificer that I feel like can
Makes
cook.
sense.
Commoner background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's true.
commoner
It's true.
background. Once again, background commoner. Um,
The one that
uh,
I identify most deeply with is if you start working on an invention, you
Mm,
won't stop until it's finished and functions exactly how you wanted it to. If that costs you a night's sleep, so be it.
I could see that about you. And me to a degree as well.
yeah, I was gonna say I share that to an extent myself. I I get my moments of perfectionism towards certain tasks that I undertake,
Mhm.
and it is painful when I come out of it because I realize, like, whoa, what haven't I done in the past X amount of time it's
Mm-hmm,
taken
mm-hmm.
me to.
Yeah,
It's like coming out of a coma, or I'm like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, if you've never come out of hours and hours and realized that like you have not attended to any basic functions of your physical body, yeah, it's
and mind you, your body has not made you aware you need to attend to it because your
yep.
body is just that attuned to it. And then it's just like, wow, it's been like 6 hours since you took a sip of anything to drink. You're like,
You haven't eaten in 9.5 hours. Oh,
that was my
Oh.
favorite. That one's still my favorite. Where I blink and I'm just like, huh? Oh, that's right. I gotta eat.
Nom 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 nom.
Uh, I'll take the next part though,
And
because the
like
other cool. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, again, we said you could use these for any section, and you don't need to roll for them. If there's one of these you want to use for your character, just use it.
yeah.
I think that really flows into the second part,
Mm.
professors,
Yes.
So
because
important.
I think there is a lost art to knowing who taught you what you know.
Yes.
And also, being an adventurer is insane. You are
Mm-hmm.
most likely going to die. You need a reason to go adventure. If you're just like a rich, if you're something, well, that doesn't count. Sometimes they want the experience, but if you're perfectly content in life, there is no reason for you to go out and be like, it'd be like not enlisting in war, enlisting in a private military corporation to like
Yeah.
go to Afghanistan and hunt people in caves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you need to have a real specific background to
But that's
even know that that's an option.
Yeah.
but that's also why in most situations players think they can rally the town to fight something. The
Mm.
people who usually rally behind you are former adventurers that retired to town life.
Mhm.
Like if I'm playing those people that are joining you, they are not old man Smothers and his wife Mary Sue, who own like the local haberdashery, because they're coming outside with some really nice hats and 4 HP each. Like they're dead to a sneeze.
That 4
Okay.
HP is crazy. Once your players realize that like regular people are exactly that, regular
Or like
people,
paper.
yeah, it's a whole new ball game.
My favorite moment ever of someone witnessing that was a hostage situation in a one shot, and they jumped into the room. The creature was like right above them, and they cast Thunder Wave.
Killed everyone.
And I'm like, okay. And I set all the NPCs to 4 HP, and I'm like, okay, roll damage. However, the NPCs have nothing to roll, so they just fail. Even if I gave them base 10 saves, they were failing. And they watched literally all the hostages die. And I was like, well, the good news is this is no longer a hostage situation. The bad news is the reason why. And I think it's one of the first times I gave my players a redo attempt on that action, because I was just kind of like, he didn't know it was going to happen that way. And as much as I tried to hint to that's not a good idea, he didn't care. This player just did not care. He thought in his head they at least have 10 HP.
Yep.
Maybe 20. Like, they can't just be at 1. And he was right, they weren't at 1. They were at 4. It's just his Thunderwave did 8.
Death by eardrums rupturing. Yee. What a scary way to go.
It's a hell of a way to go.
At least you can't hear yourself scream.
It's true.
Ooh,
It's true.
touche.
Mine was, I tried to explain, I gave my players this, basically it's an orb of dragon sight, and if you pay the price, which is getting struck by a dragon's lightning, you can see your greatest desire. And my players are all between 6 and 7 level wise, and so they were like, oh, okay, we survived. Wait, if everyone can see their greatest desire, why don't they do it? And I'm like, you guys have health. A regular person has 4 health. There's no way they would even consider trying to take a dragon's lightning. And they were like, huh? And then, like, 10 sessions later, they finally had a situation where civilians were in danger and somebody got bit by a sturge. And my players were like, I've had like 10 sturges on me at once. It's fine. I'm like, he is barely clinging on to life. He is calling out for help. He knows this is probably the night where he dies. And they're like, what? Huh? No, wait, what? And I'm like, they have 4 health, guys.
Yeah, that's not something that they contemplate.
It got morbid in here. Don't let your players murder civilians by mistake. Make them feel it.
So tell us about the professor.
Well, if you need a good trainer, you need a good professor. Most artificers gain a professor in this Archibald style, which is cool again. We got a little off topic there, but it's cool again because there is a point where in older D&D campaigns, and where I think in any campaign, you should have someone who taught you what you need to know, as we said before. The one that really stuck out to me was number 4, which is very much the anime professor. Your professor was impatient and merciless, always pushing you to your limits without ever acknowledging your progress. It's very much the pushy anime professor, just like, still not good enough.
And then they turn out to be your dad.
Yeah. It's always something weird like that, where it's just like, oh, you thought you were an orphan the entire time, but secretly, I was your uncle. Like, what?
Why?
Huh? So you let me suffer in my head for for what exactly? Like,
you fed me ramen? That's how you took care of me, you jerk?
Guess what's gonna happen when you get old?
I choose the hospice care. Okay, so next section is research projects. And okay, there was a thing that happened with Homebrewery a while back where they changed the way formatting was. So a lot of stuff that's older gets messed up, the formatting's wrong, so stuff gets pushed off the page. And actually, I think it was DM Lacara who showed us this trick. If you open the source, where it's all just basically text, you can see everything that's supposed to be there. Obviously, it has I think that's markup formatting. But actually, it's more than markup. It has
Markdown.
Markdown. There we go. You can see where the research projects are. Each of the research projects, like the reason why you'd want to become an artificer, could be an entire campaign or plot hook. They're all great. The first one, though, I was a little confused about until I realized later on that, what is it, Adventurer Gur? What is your name? Adventurous Gur is the person who made this. They separated artificing into, like, tech and then botany. So it sort of makes sense that, oh, there's some disease and you have to figure out a way to fix it. Sure, you could go fix it by some magical means or normal, like, flora fixing it through herbs and medicine. Here I was just like, oh, this is a great idea for you to go on your quest, but I couldn't understand why you would pick an artificer specifically to fix it. Later on, it'll make more sense.
Okay.
But any of these could be your whole reason for starting a campaign. Just look at these and be like, I could make a story about this.
I will say that there's something really cool to this entire starting for that, and him giving additional reasoning for any artificer to exist, because I find artificer to be the hardest to place class in a standard D&D campaign. Like if I'm running just straight swords and sorcery, this kind of allows you to play around the idea of maybe you weren't from the sword and sorcery continent. You were from a more advanced continent in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you stumbled upon and you found your way to this other. Oh, this is the best tech you have? But then also discovering other people have brought tech to the world. Like that could be a focal point. There's so many cool things that you can do with even taking some of these things out of their initial planning. A lost professor, completion of like the research projects as we saw already, or how the peculiarity pushed you. There's just so much to work with, and I like that. I like that you've given me like one page, and already my brain is like, what if I did this, 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 this?
Yeah. I am kind of surprised that one of these options is not like your classic like kung fu plot of like kung fu meets sci-fi, I guess, of like your teacher, your professor has gone missing while on like a research trip or something, and you are trying to track them down and find or like figure out what went wrong.
Those are always my favorite.
That definitely tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there was an explosion in the lab, and then there was no professor.
Yeah. Is he dead? Is he on another plane? Did he turn into a giant mechanical monstrosity? Who knows?
That would be also kind of fun to have the player, like, as they're encountering their first magical, like, I guess anything, like their first magical entity, creatures and stuff of that nature, they'd kind of like ask the question of, hey, is this person alive? I doubt you. Like, yes. And you're like, huh? How do you know that? Like them not just taking it at face value, like, but like, what proof do you have? This doesn't make sense that you just know they're alive. And this force being like, trust me, they're breathing.
No.
I don't believe you.
Hey, let me go with you're wrong.
Farm boy artificer. Something went horribly wrong fixing the tractor.
Oh my goodness.
Uncle Tom got turned into something else.
Uncle Tom and a plot of corn disappeared. And the
Yep.
only thing we had left was a scarecrow.
Mhm.
I died and was resurrected as the family tractor.
That
There's so many directions this could go.
that is an isekai.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm gonna need you to not.
I'm sure it already exists.
I need it not to. I need it not to.
There's a Japanese person right now writing a light novel.
Just got hit with inspiration.
You're sitting on a bullet train to class, just like, I need to skip school today. Just
If you're listening, whoever you are, random Japanese person, I would watch that anime.
I'm going to have to, because if I that's gonna be the problem. It's gonna be like a year from now, and we're gonna see it like pop up on like a My Anime list. And it's gonna be like the day I was reincarnated as my family's tractor. I'm gonna be, okay, well,
We did it.
we did it. This is gonna be
We manifested this.
It's gonna be a call in the Discord. Well, guys, I know we're doing this episode of DM Roundtable. We are watching the first episode of what got reincarnated as my family tractor.
Oh yeah.
I need this show to exist.
Just gotta write that one down.
Yeah, for real. You're not taking a look at the next section of Concoctionist as we get into the special.
Oh my god. I love the Concoctionist. I love this so much. I read it.
DM Lacara, take it.
Yeah, take it.
Your love for it. Sold it.
So now we have just so that you guys are caught up, the Artificer subclass. None of us can speak today. The Artificer subclasses are called Specialists. So these are just subclasses within Artificer.
So this is, I'm not going to read all of this, but this is so much fun. So the Concoctionist is basically somebody that just like brews potions and has no idea what's going to happen with them. An old adage popular among artificers says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Only a concoctionist would interpret these words as any failed experiment yields hitherto unknown solutions.
Woo!
Everything's useful somewhere.
I'm just thinking of my favorite gift. Modern problems require modern solutions.
Just like Photoshop a little vial in his hand, you're good to go.
Paul, the guy who gets really fast like voiceovers to be like, please say all these things that could.
So you gain proficiency with Alchemist supplies, and you get a set of additional spells, absorb elements, cause fear. I was like, kind of like, why? But flame walk, stinging cloud, vitriolic sphere. Some of these make sense for the fact that you're just like brewing up things. But the feature, this might be my favorite feature from any subclass ever. Just the chaos from this. Okay, you hit 3rd level, and as long as you have your supplies, every time you finish a long rest, you brew elixirs, experimental elixirs, equal to your int modifier. Then you can drink one of them as a bonus action. It lasts for a few rounds, 1d4 plus 1 turns. You can only have one effect active at a time. You have to roll on the experimental elixir table to determine its effect. But better than that, if anyone else drinks one of your elixirs, they just get poisoned. They don't get anything. Now, I do think if I was running this, as the concoctionist leveled up, I would let them tweak some of this because I don't think it's fair for all of this to stay experimental all the time. Like, I would let them
Yeah,
pick one or two things from the table that like they can consistently make.
As they level up, for sure.
Yeah, as they level up. Or to be able to give maybe one elixir to someone else in the party and not just straight up poison.
I was
Because I
thinking,
mean, think about how much fun it would be to just be like, here, drink this. What does it do?
I think it's set up well enough to allow the capstone. It's like maybe at 9th level, now one of your potions is somebody. And
Yeah.
at 17th level, like, you can give them to other people. You can brew what you want. But one of your potions is absolutely random.
Yep.
and
Or maybe like off the randomness.
I definitely think I agree with you. Like, your Artificer should get better at this.
Yeah.
You would hope they would get better at this.
But my favorite part.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the only reason I think though that they added cause fear is there's a certain level of like fear that enters the heart of someone who watches someone drink an unknown concoction that they woke up to.
I also feel like there's a
woke up.
There's
No, this is kind of like being able to swap out your spells as a cleric. It doesn't just appear. You make it with your alchemist supplies.
Like, you can flavor all of these as you're just throwing certain reagents or something like that.
Yeah.
So good.
But I also feel like cause fear is there because I'm thinking specifically of, oh no, what is his name? His name is Pop Fizz. He's one of the Skylanders. He is an alchemist, and he's like a furry blue ball with arms and legs. And when he drinks potions, one of his abilities is one of his potions turns him into a monster. But when he turns into the monster, like a Jekyll and Hyde type deal, he roars and it like pushes people away from him. I'm assuming that's the idea they're going for.
Yeah. But what makes the concoctionist even more fun is that when you drink an elixir, you gain blood toxicity. And as you level up, the amount of blood toxicity that you can handle increases. But if you keep pounding elixirs, you overdose. And then you have disadvantage on all attack rolls, you take a penalty to your AC, and if you keep taking elixirs even after you've overdosed, you take 1d10 poison damage, which cannot be reduced by any means.
I'm just imagining someone chugging elixirs. Like, hey man, I really gotta get this fight over with. So glug 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 glug.
Yeah.
That one didn't do what I wanted it to do. Let me try the next one. No.
Yep. I mean, you can, but it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So it comes down a little bit if you take a short rest. It comes down by your con mod. And if you take a long rest, you reset. You go back to 0. But I like it. I feel like it's really tightly balanced because the effect of each elixir is only a couple of rounds. So like this is not something like a spell that like, like mage armor or something that you pop and then you have it for the duration of the fight. Like so many things in D&D, it's like you set it up right before the fight kicks off or as your first couple actions and then you just have that through the fight. This is not that. This is extremely temporary. So you're tempted to keep pounding those elixirs. But you're also poisoning yourself. Like, and I just think this is such a cool balance.
I have in my notes like this is possibly the coolest thing in here, minus the botanist. But this particular
Oh, the
subclass is
botanist.
not meant for a first-time artificer. Like,
Mhm.
No.
I wouldn't say don't make your first-time character playing the game this guy.
No,
The
this
concoctionist or the
The
botanist?
concoctionist.
the
Don't make
Yeah,
concoctionist your first character. That's too
No.
you got too much to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a level of understanding in the game that you just fundamentally don't have to make this character not piss you off.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, the idea of learning, I have written in my notes, like, I would love, basically this guy made me think I can tweak parts of this for the way that I run Blood Hunters in my game, where they're gene spliced and they take potions to give them some abilities, kind of like Witchers. I was like, oh, I think your campaign goal or one of the plot hooks for this particular artificer should be they're trying to figure out how they can make their potions work for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because this guy, for sure, he can start a gang war. He doesn't even need a Bastion pub.
Yeah. Absolutely. They're just so great. And I mean the effects are all pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's cool that there's a balance, very much like the wild magic table
Mm-hmm.
of damage, non-damage, and the randomness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's certain things that just become really the concoctionist player walking up and just kind of into the army of enemies and just being like, I'm gonna drink this. I have no idea what's about to happen. Huh? Like, what? And like they pop this potion and literally like start getting wailed on, but they got number 7. So now they're just splashing acid
Yeah.
on people, like, whoo, a little spicy here, huh?
Yeah.
And clearly you want this player to be role-playing what's happening. Like,
Mhm.
sorry about that. Sorry about that on people, as like he's just spraying acid, or like
Oh,
your
yeah.
skin
Oh, is that your
becomes
favorite skill?
metallic.
Yeah. I mean, you breathe fire, you bet you've got a dragon head for a few seconds. Like,
Oh,
you don't just breathe fire, you are walking
wait,
around like you're wearing a
no.
Halloween mask.
I've got one better for you. Your tongue becomes a dragon head.
Ugh.
Like a xenomorph.
Yeah, so like you drank the potion and it's just like, oh, I need fire. But and it's just a little dragon head pops out. Blah! It just spews a cone of fire because you had an allergic reaction in your mouth and it's
Yeah.
caused your tongue to swell into a dragon.
Ugh.
It's also cool that
You can't talk.
No,
true,
you
yeah,
can't.
you can make noises now. You won't be able to cast spells, but you can breathe fire. I also think it's cool that like as you get better, as you level up in the class, some of the abilities improve. Like you've gotten better with your potions, even if you want to play it rules as written, where you're still not sure what exactly the potion does. You're better at concocting it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The infused strikes part is hard because I feel like it makes it a magic weapon if you're adding your intelligence modifier to it, but that's not really the case. You have to really role play into why you're getting that +1.
Yeah, I I do think that and additionally the following ability, controlled chaos, it pushes this class too close to like a magic sword kind of archetype. Like I prefer the idea of this frail guy drinking, getting swole.
I guess is really, you know what I mean? Like this, this obviously not meant for combat character. Knowing how crazed their potions can be exciting. Yeah, no, this is the moment where I need this, and it just affecting melee attacker.
Mm-hmm.
Infused strikes and controlled chaos with the temp HP, maybe not so much because 5e 2024 gives temp HP because it exists.
Yeah. At least I feel like with that one, if you're taking the idea that this guy knows his way around potions, like, oh, he probably can make a healing potion, so he just put some components of it, but not all of it, into all of his elixirs. That one I feel like is easier to explain than you're better at swinging a sword, unless you want to say like, oh, that my elixir kickstarted some connections in my brain, so now I'm better at analyzing someone's armor or their fighting style, so I know when there's an extra opening, like I know where to strike.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think of that until now, but basically you're the cartoon version of Black Panther when he's fighting people and he's like, ah, you lift your left arm up 1 inch, I will punch you in your tricep. I'm like, oh, I see.
I can say that the only other way I could see this infused weapon being useful is that I'm not denoting it saying melee weapon. So there is but then I have a weird understanding of how your intelligence increasing powered up a bow. Like, do you gain a technique? I guess maybe you're smart enough to gain better technique.
I think it's more based on stuff that we're going to see later on. They're intending the artificers to be using crossbows, so it must be like, oh, you've messed with the mechanism. Now thinking about it, I understand why they keep saying crossbow everything, because a crossbow is mechanical, so it makes more sense for an artificer to use it than like a recurve. I don't know why I didn't make that connection before, but now I get it.
I've never made that connection.
Now I get it.
It's the first.
So I guess they're like, oh, you're like, oh, if I, tilt back on the trigger and pull the rope a little bit differently, I'll get a better shot. Okay, I guess. But then when you're not, like when your elixir runs out, you forget how to do that?
No.
Yeah. Especially the experimental elixir. That you had no idea what it was going to do.
I also love hardened stomach, so you can forego a triggering of overdose to give yourself a 10-foot increase to your speed. But then you can't drink any more elixirs, and you'll get a level of exhaustion. I love things that are high, like you take that and then you suffer for it later. Like, I need this, but I feel like at 15th level, if you're just getting a 10-foot increase, that's not really worth it to me.
No.
This one's
not
kind of
only
weak.
10 feet. I need something with the 10 feet of movement. I think the 10 feet of movement is cool. Because it gives that idea of like, I've popped this potion. It's like an energy rush, kind of.
Yeah. Like maybe if it was, oh, you can add one more action onto your multi-attack or something like that, or because one of the elixirs is you can attack twice rather than once, and you ignore the loading property, and you can cast one of your cantrips in place of one of those attacks. So it's like you're in super speed, but baby super speed. I'm like, if you added that onto the +10, I would consider using it. I mean, obviously I don't want to overdose, but I'm not going to go out of my way to overdose to get 10 feet.
Definitely not.
So no. That one could use some work. But overall, I think this is great for not beginners. if you've played 5e before and you want to do something fun and you want to bring chaos to the table, this is a great option.
Yeah. Yeah, this is for that person that wants to put additional limits on themselves to see how they can roleplay their way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like flavor.
I do like that he kind of a note about how these are subclasses that have some existence in the original Alchemist, in the little blurb that he puts next to it. Again, I love everything alchemical. I love the idea of alchemy as a in real life application. And it was nice to see that was taken into consideration, because I do feel like it wasn't well done in what we received. That was not well done.
They said, oh, we're not going to put it in the new player's handbook because it wasn't a starting class. They've already said we're going to put it in some supplement later on for 2024 rules. But it was underutilized, especially because instead of trying to find ways to make it fit, they just said, hey, this probably doesn't work in your regular fantasy world. You could have tried.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could have given it a shot.
Like, you didn't want to give it even an attempt? That's Watsy.
That's ballsy.
No, that's Watsy.
You're true. You're yeah. Just a little silent judging.
Oh, it's not silent.
Where's Murmur?
He was there. He came in for that silent judging.
Yeah, we needed Murmur for that exact. One of these days, collectively, DM Lacara and I are going to boot certain writers of WotC into the demi-plane.
That's right.
Yes.
It'll be a branded boot with the
which
brown
you can,
logo.
yeah. Which you can own a piece of the demi-plane of sludge.
It's true. Is it? Can you? I was like, are you gonna load? You're not gonna load? Okay, cool. There you go. There you go. Spluck.
And purchase that, amongst other things.
You can even get a hollow one. Oh, the. Okay, that one has a little bit of a hollow in it. I was like, oh, the preview for hollow doesn't actually show that it's hollow, but it does if you put it on a sticker.
Go buy some merch, folks. And
bye, Arvin.
Later, Arvin.
Good luck with the auditions.
And this is also probably the greatest time to tell you, though, to help out Okami by not just buying merch, but also really and truly pressing some simple things on your screen. DM Lacara, could you tell people how to help if they don't want to buy some merch, though they should?
Absolutely. If you are not looking to deck your halls with some of our fine stickers and other things, hit the buttons. If you have money, hit the buttons which give Okami money. Patreon and YouTube subscriptions, and there's stuff, right?
Twitch subscriptions too.
Twitch. Always Twitch.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I only remember that because I got in a fight with my sister the other day, and she was like, "I'm still giving you money on Twitch," and I was like, "Are you?" And it took me 35 minutes to figure out where the screen is that tells you who's subscribed to you. because they
Wow.
hit it again.
So maybe steer away from the Twitch then.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not really happy about the way Twitch is doing it.
And if, like so many of us, you don't have money, and you can still hit buttons that help. Hit the buttons to like, share, subscribe, force your friends to watch us. Do all those little things that also indirectly give Okami money and keep him from re-inhabiting the demi-plane of sludge.
We really,
Schluck.
really want him to avoid the demi-plane. And you should too.
It's true.
Because
Nobody
if he
wants to
doesn't
be there.
avoid the demi-plane of sludge, you won't avoid the demi-plane of sludge.
I'm trying to help you.
Maybe once we're big enough, Okami will magnanimously decide to start up some paid tours of the demi-plane of sludge. You know, like one of those things of like see where he started from. But until that point,
It's
hit the
just me
buttons.
and the mini tours.
Yes.
Yeah. But don't make any mess, or else we have to employ our only practitioners of Victorian.
Yes.
Perfection.
Oh, actually, where is my shirt?
You already have it? Oh my god.
No, I
Oh.
don't. It said
Oh.
it shipped, and I have not received it.
I wanna know.
You have to go track it down.
These are the
But-
things we learn about. I want to
When
get
you're not-
Victorian Orphan Magic shirts for like everybody. I think that's hilarious.
Listen,
Yeah.
Listen, get some shirts, folks. That's all I can say to you.
Help
Get
us
some
out.
shirts, get some swag. Slap Murmur on a shirt. Wear Steve on your chest. Get a sticker of DM Lacara reminding you
Ooh, that's
to
true.
hit the buttons.
That image already has favorites. I can't believe Steve doesn't have favorites.
Seriously, Steve is the cutest.
Steve really is the cutest. I think it's because people look at Steve and they just go, I love him. I don't like him.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
fantastic.
If they ever invent a plush version.
I mean, if we get big enough,
Yeah.
I'll set up for Makeship because Makeship, like, it's basically crowdfunding for plushies. If we don't make it, we don't make it. Nothing lost, really.
Yeah. I want a Steve plushie.
Yeah, I do too. See,
I would hope. Listen, if Steve plushies become available, we're gonna get you one. You're not gonna end up paying for the thing you created.
Yeah, no, this is also true. Okami makes it very valid.
Oh, I love this. I tracked my Victorian Orphan Magic shirt. It arrived at the nearest distribution center to me, and now it just says in transit to next facility in the US.
Oh.
What does that mean?
That means I'm never getting my Victorian Orphan Magic shirt.
No.
Malarkey thing I've ever. No, we're fixing that.
It went from an extremely specific location to just saying USA.
Somebody's not using their beep beep machine.
I do not feel sanguine about this.
We will keep you posted here on DM Roundtable though about our shirts.
Yeah. I bought other things from Redbubble. Those have shipped. I haven't gotten those yet either though.
Did I? No,
What is going on, Redbubble?
Redbubble, what's up? What's up? What's
Well,
up?
the other ones I just bought over the weekend, so it's okay. I haven't gotten those yet.
Oh, okay. Fair. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, the manufacturing hub is here. I think the only person I've bought stuff from Redbubble on, the artist is in Australia, but the manufacturing hubs here. I do remember it taking a while, though.
When I saw there was the sale, I went on and dug up like every weird, like archaic thing I am a fan of and found that they all had fan art. And I was like, oh no.
I love when
spent a lot of money.
whenever I'm like, I'm in a fandom and I'm like, oh, I need to buy some merch. Oh, there's probably no merch. This thing's old. I just go on Redbubble. I'm like, oh, yep, nope. There's nerds here. Thanks.
There's nerds that can draw specifically.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Please, we need help. Help us, nerds.
Yeah.
And then help us help Okami help himself.
That's right. It's a helping chain.
Yeah. Almost like an Ouroboros of education, but in this case, it's there's actually I think it's Twitch has subscriber train. I don't know if YouTube also has subscriber train. Or something like that.
I know they have hype train.
I know there's some features semi like that.
You would not believe how much difficulty I am having trying to get the art generators to understand an Ouroboros wearing a graduation cap and gown. I have been working on this for the entire stream so far. And I have
hardly believe that too.
So many horrifying images and none of them what I asked for. I do have the mechanical octopus.
Oh my god, yes. Yes!
But not the Ouroboros yet. I will get there. I don't give up this easily.
And that's your Artificer backstory! But, so, like we were talking about how we don't really like the Artificer the way it is. I definitely think it doesn't have like a normal spot. But that's because they never found a normal spot for it. They just said, hey, we made it! Bye! So, in this supplement, Adventurous Gur was like, hey, I'm going to split what the Artificer is supposed to do into two things. And then the other two subclasses are their own work. I mean, these are obviously a lot of their own work as well. But the next one is Alchemist Reborn. And this is what it may just be Grimjack's wet dream.
It's mine, that's for sure. It is mine, that is for sure.
Oh, this is exact. In my notes, just in caps. Raised dead? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Exactly. Accidental necromancer.
Accidental.
This is this person that's like, hey, there's magic out there. I don't believe in magic though. It's just science I don't understand yet. That's what you're out there doing.
Yep.
Oh, 1000%. But it's also great that they learn Revivify, which means they accidentally back to life.
Accidentally brought someone back to life, probably after they accidentally melted them with acid.
Yep.
This is a good support / crowd control subclass.
I'm also just imagining like a team of artificers from varying like walks, and the alchemist, the reborn alchemist, just being like, oh, there he goes. He burned his face off again.
Yep.
I guess I need to fix that. And
Also,
like that's why he can accidentally revive someone.
There's like that one guy that everybody knows who he is, but nobody from the outside understands how they recognize him because every time they get together, he has a different face.
Yes. Love it.
And they're like, how do you know that's Jack? And it's like, Jack. It's like, but he looks different. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, well, that's Jack.
Yeah.
Just
Sure,
got
are you
Jack
okay?
Musk, man. I don't know. I just know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Bro,
just
are
know
you
your
sure that-
people.
Yeah, it's like, are you sure that's Jack? It's like, bro, I know Jack when I see him.
Yeah.
It's
Like
not.
nobody within the community questions it, but everybody outside the community is just so confused.
This isn't based on sight, but I have this distinct memory of being in elementary school, and my best friend at the time, we were playing 7-Up, Heads Up, whatever you want to call it, and he put my thumb down, and when you have to like call out who did it, I was like, oh, it was Carl. And the teacher was like, how do you know? And I was like, no one else has hands as clammy as Carl's. And she was like, you cheated. I'm like, I did not cheat. Please. And
Oh.
my classmates were like, no, he's right. I'm like, I know. I didn't cheat. He has clammy hands.
I'm sorry, I'm just dying laughing at the idea that you're like, clammy ass ham? Carl. Sorry, Carl.
That is fantastic.
Man, this hand is way too clammy to be a normal being. This must be Carl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna message him and be like, yo, you still got clammy hands, bro?
Now you've
that's
outed
okay.
him to the entire internet. Sorry, Carl.
It's alright. It's alright. We're gonna call you Clammy Carl.
Sorry, bro.
Hopefully no one will ever know who you are because no one knows who Clammy secretly is.
My bad, bro.
So I will maintain Carl's anonymity because Carl is not his real name.
Whew. I do like that there's now a, speaking of why you'd have cold, clammy hands, there's like a distinction here where you either get alchemy supplies specifically or poisoner's kit supply, like that's your proficiency, because poisons are going to come in handy later. But you could also, I'm going to say a lot of the alchemist supplies are probably very similar to what's in a poisoner's kit. Like, not
Yeah.
exactly the contents, but like what you're holding them in and the tools. Probably very similar anyway.
Mhm.
I will say though that the fact that you have a recipe ledger.
Oh my
in
god.
general,
Mwah! Love this.
and it's essentially a growing book of recipes that you can learn to craft and create is beautiful.
Yeah.
What's this?
And
Downtime?
and I think the thing that sold me on the Alchemist Reborn most is not even the recipe ledger, it's expanded tool belt. You are proficient with all objects.
Yeah.
Detailed in the appendix known as the collection of usable objects, and you don't treat them as improvised weapons. The idea that you literally become alchemical gambit
So sold.
opens just this wide swath of ideas for, not to mention that you can use this, was it, you add your proficiency attack, and I think there's something later on to make it easy. But you literally now are whipping cups off of table for damage.
It's nice.
Yep.
The only way to defeat you is to fight you in an open plane.
I don't know.
Devoid of things.
Sand is silica.
Ooh, see, and that's why you don't fight DM Lacara as a reborn.
I love
Science will trump mine, thus take you out faster.
In
Look,
DM
I
Lacara's
really
campaign,
like chemistry.
in your campaign, pretty much all the players except for me and one other guy are scientists. And sometimes you guys talk science shop, and I sent a message to the other player that's not a scientist last time this happened, and it was just a gif of Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad going, "Yeah, science!" And he sent me back, "Yes, sure, science."
Sorry, yeah, we do that. We're a large group of scientists married. Almost every single one of us is married to an engineer. Sometimes the scientists get talking and the engineers are like, "Oh my god, shoot me."
I think
Basically,
it's
what
cute.
you just learned is that DM Lacara is preparing only those subscribed to the Roundtable
Mm,
for the anti-zombie apocalypse. I'm just saying.
Zombie apocalypse already happened, man. We're living in the after times.
I wasn't gonna tell them today. I wasn't gonna pull them out the matrix just yet.
I love Alchemical Savant because this, like I said, this is a support class, but it could be healing or crowd control. And because you're an alchemist, you're so good that whenever you cast a spell that's hit points or deals acid, fire, necrotic, or poison damage, which is stuff that your alchemy should be doing, it's sort of kind of.
No, that's the only thing you should be doing.
Yeah.
Lean in.
You get a bonus to the healing roll or the damage roll, which is your intelligence modifier. So you are a pretty smart dude helping out one way or the other. Maybe you're making sure that your team stands tall, or maybe you're melting the kneecaps off your enemies so they're even shorter.
There you go. Now you're thinking. Take the kneecaps.
I honestly think this is one of the only times I've ever seen someone do both. Like, generally speaking, when you see one of the traits, it's like, especially in 2024 rules, it's I either harm or I hurt. This one's like, I'm just good at magic, yo.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I like the flexibility and I like the ambivalence.
Yeah.
Like it lets you, if your character goes through some stuff one way or the other, it lets you not feel like, oh, I guess I have to start multiclassing now.
Yeah. And it stupid 2024 rules that are like, hey, you're gonna do exactly this from start to finish. Nah. I don't know what's gonna happen during the campaign. I don't know if what I need at the end is what I've started with.
Yeah.
In the middle, some stuff might happen. This gives you enough to go the whole distance. Like, oh, I can have an adventure. I can enjoy the adventure. My character can grow along this adventure.
Yeah.
And get lesser restoration, which is nice. And whenever a creature drinks a potion crafted by you, they get temp HP, which also is great if you are the support for your team. You could be the designated healer as your Artificer here. Won't be able to heal as much because you'll probably have less spells than a cleric would, but you're helping out when you're helping out.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it
That's
also
always good.
I think also Lesser Restoration is a spell that around 9th level applies. It's really nice to have.
I can do it for free.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that? Sure.
Why not? I like that. Also, the capstone ability for this, whereas we said the Concoctionist capstone needs a bit of a buff to really be viable, this one is a absolute game changer. You get resistance to acid and poison. You're immune to being poisoned. And when you deal poison or acid damage, you ignore resistance and immunity. There are so many. I think poison is the most resisted damage type of any monster in the game. So the fact that you're just ignoring it, and it's not a step down, because a lot of abilities have, oh, if you ignore immunity, it becomes resistance. This is just, it's gone. Like, I'm so good at melting you, either from the outside or the inside. I'm gonna do it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And you get greater restoration and heal. But you can
Yeah.
only do one or the other. But this is a game changer. Level 15, game changer.
Yep.
And a necessary one, because this is just a fun thing. It encompasses everything that a capstone event. Something to do, something you're better at, and something that you absolutely triumph.
Yeah.
Big ups to this one. Big ups. Adventurous Grr.
Adventurous Girl, though, also seems to think that Alchemists might really enjoy math, or Artificers really enjoy the mathematical arts.
This is some Quandrix bullshit. It's what this is. The Arithmetician is just Quandrix bullshit. You blue-green bitches.
This is my people. In Magic the Gathering, there's a realm, a plane of existence that has 4 schools of magic.
Yeah.
And one of them is Quandrix, which is essentially the math school. They have fun with fractals. Everything, all of their cards are literally number based. And play with numbers. I think
we've just sold DM Lacara on Quandrix. All other schools are like, yeah, we summon these.
And I was like, yes.
all other schools are like, aha, we summon all these magical creatures. And Quandrix is like, Math Beast, go! And it's just like a spinning 4D image.
So the prodigy of the Quandrix school is this little girl. I will send her a picture in Discord for you, because I think you will.
Oh, you'd love Zamone.
Yeah, Zamone is just this cute little girl who so the cards are like her backstory of growing up, or their growth, and we've been getting like weird back and forth of her throughout time. But her entire thing is all about. Right now, her current version is Paradox Sculptor. She has the all questioning that this one creates fractals on prime numbers. She's a mystery unraveler. She's everybody's favorite.
The last set was basically an entire plane that's just a living haunted house. It's the worst bastion anything could ever bring into existence. And of the group that go to inspect it, Zamone is one of the people, and she's just like, nah, I don't think this is too weird. I'll figure out the equations that make this place up soon enough.
And she literally spends her entire time there figuring out the scientific reason, like literally the equation that keeps the horrors of this world together. And this is her reading the fabric of the world as an equation, of this world as an equation.
That is awesome.
I think you're gonna make a blue-green deck if you ever start playing Magic.
Look, some of us just want to ignore people and look for the ultimate truth of the universe. That's just our thing.
I'm going to give you this quote off of her card, DM Lacara. Extraplanar geometry isn't so hard to get used to thinking in 12 dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, that. She's right.
I literally spent last week trying to explain to people that we really, really need to just try to retrain our minds to think in vector fields. And if we could just do that, a lot of the things that we struggle with would be a lot easier.
Was that your
Listen, if it helps
presentation?
me solve-
No, that was just a side argument.
I'll support it.
Hmm.
I support
Change your
this.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get down with that.
Unfortunately, our brains are kind of stuck in. We don't even really think in 3 dimensions. We think in 3 dimensions. We actually think mostly in 2. And
think
trying, yeah.
You can't comprehend the third dimension.
Yeah, that's something most people don't think about. But like, you don't actually usually think in 3 dimensions. We are so used to looking at things on paper or on screens. Most of our thinking
Oh.
takes place in 2 dimensions. So if you try to develop intuition about how something like a field changes in 3 dimensions at once, forget adding time in, that just thinking about it static in 3 dimensions, your brain starts to freak out. So we do all this gymnastics to try to shove everything back into 2 dimensions, and it's just wrong. We need to think better. We don't need to simplify things. But that's
Don't be sorry.
totally unrelated to this.
We're teaching people things about D&D and life.
Yeah.
It's what we've always wanted.
I love how on the bottom of the card, the Shin shared, it actually lists prime numbers for people who are unfamiliar.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because they know that most people aren't smart enough.
Bro.
Or ever remember prime numbers in the heat of a card game.
If Jack DT played blue-green, I would have to read the bottom of his card to him every time. I hate having to play his deck and mine, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, you know what you don't have to do that with? An arithmetician.
Nope.
What is the universe but a series of calculations? Easy to comprehend by those with a keen mind and the endurance to study their surroundings relentlessly. Arithmeticians use their mathematical genius to alter spells according to geometrical and algebraic concepts. They understand magic is literally equations. Yeah.
Reed Richards is back again. Dude's been everywhere, man. Unlike the other two, you get proficiency in cartographer's tools or navigator's tools because, you know, you could be drawing math. Yeah, sure. I wanted to say maps and graphs, but it just came out maths. Sure, yes.
Math.
Yes, precisely. I'm British now. Maths.
That's what I was gonna say.
The other important thing here is that you get proficiency with hand and heavy crossbows. I don't know anything else that gives you heavy crossbow proficiency.
Nothing.
But
Why
realizing
would math give you that?
I think it's realizing what I did before, that they want to use heavy crossbows because they're mechanical in nature.
Yeah, but I mean, have you ever looked at a mathematician's arms? That's not firing a heavy crossbow.
But it is finding the equation to fire the heavy crossbow with the least amount of effort.
Sure. And then they're gonna tell the barbarian to do it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Here, hold my arms and press the button with your finger using my finger.
Yeah.
Thus,
Really
I
put your
fire
back into it.
but you
Really put
but
your
you put
back
your weight
into it. I hate it here. This is the first subclass that has new spells. Archibald's Geometrical Shapes is part of this supplement, but we'll get to it later. I think Autolux is correct. Is a regular spell, though.
Autolux Resilient Spear.
I love that one.
Intellect Fortress is always an interesting one. Sounds interesting, at least. I want an Intellect Fortress.
So if you thought that this is less chaotic because you get arithmagic, where you can apply an arithmetical symbol to something to affect it when it happens. So it's not as chaotic. You know what you're doing, and like if you really do know what you're doing, you're gonna mess with a lot of people. You can add so that when somebody makes a spell attack roll, you can add to that roll. Basically like a very targeted bardic inspiration kind of deal. You can subtract so that other people fail if you know exactly what you're doing. That makes me think of the druids in Here to Slay. Their whole shtick is they lower everybody else's rolls to mess with them. Multiply is if you spend a number of symbols equal to the spell's level, it lets you target an additional ally if it's something that was targeting only one ally. And then divide is you can have a spell's damage, but you take the other half of the damage.
Adventurous Gur played Final Fantasy because this is the calculator class.
Speaking of calculators, the next one definitely is Final Fantasy, Wild Arms. You learn Identify. When you hit somebody, you can either find out their AC or their current hit points.
Okay. I have had so many players in so many different campaigns ask me, how do I learn its HP? To which I've always said, there is no like Zodiac Libra Identify spell in D&D. Damn you, Adventurous Gur.
Now there is.
Okay. I like it, but damn you for doing it.
Yeah. I generally speaking, the way my players do it is the way that we write initiative order. There's a section for like what your initiative is, then your name, and then we put the AC. And usually we have like a mini game going, basically, where like when my players strike, I give them some hint as to whether that number was high or low, and then they figure out the AC. Or if they hit it right on, I'm like, oh, you smack dab, you got it right at the AC. So this takes that out of that little mini game within a mini game within a mini game out. But it is cool if you think that everything is math.
True. I mean, you would think that with your 9th level feature, Unrivaled Intellect, which you gain proficiency in investigation, not or, but and Arcana, if you don't have them, and then your proficiency bonus is doubled for all checks you make with them, as well as for the first time I've ever seen it, you gain resistance to psychic damage.
Yeah.
You are so smart. People can't affect your brain.
You are looking at illithids and mind flayers and go, oh, you're trying to get into my brain? You're not smart enough.
Try
Can you
again.
imagine doing an intellect devour? It's not smart brain.
You can't handle my brain.
This is more than you can eat. Its capstone feature is probably my least favorite feature in the game, having taken Calc 1, 2, and 3.
Disgusting.
I didn't know Calc 3.
Oh yes. And then ODEs, and then PDEs, and then
You guys are gross.
I learned how far, and it gets worse when he brings integration and differentiation. Oh man!
This is bonkers, but I'm so glad they stopped it at 5th level, because you would be able to stop 9th level spells if they didn't write this into the text. I'm so glad. But you can cancel a spell effect of 5th level or lower by spending as many symbols as that spell's level. I'm so glad they stopped it at 5th. I would have been so mad if my players for sure would have been like, I canceled that guy's wish. I would have been like,
Oh no, they would have done that, and then I would have had someone cancel theirs.
mm.
What you can do, I can do.
My players are always like, you didn't write it, so, and I'm like, so now all my, if any of you go on and see a spell of mine on D&D Beyond, there's always like 6 paragraphs of explaining text because I have to close all the stupid loopholes my players will come up with.
Yeah, leave the good loopholes though. It's half the fun.
But the cool thing is, if you cancel it, you can actually give it to someone else.
That is actually pretty dope.
Be like, what? Yep, what?
Like, oh, was that your shield? Psych.
I'm like, there are
That
options
really-
here. Haste, Sleep, Bane, Longstrider, Barkskin, Hold per... If... Ooh! I think it's super cool. Like, the creatures hasted one of their allies, and you were like, that's my haste now. And you gave it to one of your players. But the idea that you're so smart that as some creature is using Hold Person to hold one of your teammates in place, and you're like, oh, I know how that calculation works, and you're just like, oh, no, add a little X there and solve for Y over here. Whoop! Nope, back to you.
I'm just imagining that this like 2 + 2 it equals you and just flings it right back. This is
2 + 2
this
equals
is-
you.
this is mathematical fuckery.
I love it.
I've never supported math more
Same.
than
You all know I hate math, but this is... again, if you're going to play Artificer, don't make this your first Artificer, but this is cool.
Yeah.
I think we can get through the next 2 because I have a lot to say about.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I think we should, at least for this one, we'll get to the end of the subclasses. I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we can get through this pretty quick. Aeronaut. DM Lacara, you want to walk us through Aeronaut? a little bit?
Sounds fun. This is past where I got to, but oh, what grace, soaring through the skies like a bird on graceful wings to see the world from above. That sounds like that was supposed to rhyme, but it did not. Okay.
Wax poetic.
The Aeronaut proposes a different solution, which can be solved with unreliable magic, can easily be solved with exactly as unreliable technology. But with this, at least you get to not look like a pigeon. Okay, you get Smith's tools, or something else if you already have those. Some spells, ensnaring strike, thunderwave, warding wind wall, lots of wind stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
ice storm,
You really like the air.
weather things. Yeah.
This feels like the weaponized Wright brothers.
Yes,
This is-
Yeah.
because you also get a harness that becomes a jetpack later on.
I'm
Yep.
You're
sorry.
a Mandalorian.
I'm sorry. My brother in dice. Run that one by me one more time.
Aeronautical expert. 3rd level feature. You gain the ability to create a harness that lets you soar across the battlefield. You create the harness as part of a long rest, and it's only destroyed if you make another one or if you go down. It attaches to you, cannot be removed against your will. Okay, how you gonna flavor that exactly?
The only way I can think of is that it's got like in the Matrix when they have those super long needles. The only way they could get it to work is like you have to like shove the needles into your back so it's become a part of you.
Ooh.
Yeah. Cool. You get a flying speed of 30 feet.
Is my
Although
favorite
you
part.
have to land at the end of your turn or you fall to the ground.
It's my
Okay.
favorite part.
I support that at least.
Yep. Okay.
I can support you flying up in the sky 30 feet to like hit the enemy, but then remembering like shit, I have to come down.
I forgot
Yeah.
gravity.
Yeah. Damn you, Newton!
It's a jetpack, but it only works on like thrusts. Like it does not have a hover feature.
Sorry, you don't have enough badges to hover.
But it gives you the flyby feature. Oh, that's true. I didn't think of it like that. Fist said
What?
it's like Attack on Titan, like the 3D maneuverable gear. I was thinking wings because it's you're an aeronaut, but you could flavor it as like it just shoots grappling hooks.
Grappling hook.
You
Everyone knows
could.
grappling hook.
The thing about this class though is like you said before, like oh I see that I don't see artificers like fighting. This one is supposed to be a flying soldier, so you get
Yeah.
access to fighting styles.
Interesting.
Which
So you're the
I was
flying
like, huh?
artificer.
Yep.
I guess though there's something to a flying crossbow wielding like gnome.
It's so
Yeah,
cool.
that would be scary. It also gives you martial weapons.
Yes. Which is interesting because not a lot without taking fighter martial out gives you anything with martial. Like you usually have to either subclass or take the specific feat at 4th level, which is the first access you gain to it.
Yeah.
This guy is like your actual if you want to be and like you want some spells, but you're also like I don't know if my team's gonna be doing enough DPS out there. This is the one for you. You even get
Yeah.
extra attack.
You gain extra attack. You additionally, as you power up, you can add your int modifier to your weapon attacks once per turn, as well as powering up the harness to give you your flying speed 10 more feet and the ability to dash while airborne. So you now gain Mega Man. And at 15th level, as Okami said, Capstone says you finally figured out a system of continuous propulsion.
Yeah.
That can stay airborne for as long as you are conscious.
It took a while, but you got there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that is really cool. The idea of this flying character on the field that like you really kind of have to pay attention to DM because terrain, what is terrain? It definitely shifts the narrative of your combat.
Now you're thinking in the 3rd dimension.
Oh yeah. But the last one that we get to,
we have
where my
so much to talk about here.
A lot and a little, but a lot. And it is Botanist. I, for one, if I'm not loving alchemy as a whole in D&D, I am probably the biggest druid lover I think I know.
Yeah.
I believe the druids deserve so much more. And this gave the druids the true touch of nature.
I 100% exactly what you're saying. I think this could also be a druid class.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In fact, this would be the only time I would be like, if you're a druid and you want a subclass, I'll flavor everything that's intelligence into wisdom, give you the spells, and call it a day.
And just be like, hey, instead of certain number of seeds, whatever your wild shape charges were, they're seeds now. But
you gain proficiency with the herbalism kit. If you already have it, like the previous Aeronaut, gain a different artisan's tool. And you also gain proficiency in nature. And if you have proficiency, you gain expertise. I have never seen something give proficiency and or expertise in nature, and I'm for it.
It's just a forgotten skill, man. Which is weird, because, you know, as an adventurer, you're out adventuring. You're just out in nature, bros.
But you use perception. Sometimes survival. Never nature.
It's true.
You gain some botany spells. Entangle, Good Berry, which is common, you expect. But you also gain plant growth, daylight, and then awaken and commune with nature.
Mhm.
So you can talk to nature itself. I don't see I see nothing wrong with it.
And commune with nature is probably going to come in handy when you get to your 3rd level feature. These guys.
You really go all out with. You're essentially giving yourself an Aubrey.
You get to throw specialized seeds that basically become plant turrets. And they're alive, they do their thing, and they have their own little abilities. So you're legit controlling the battlefield by you're playing Plants vs Zombies in D&D. I love it.
Yeah. You're setting up. You are the legitimate crowd control artificer. You're setting up turrets. You're planting thorny vines. You're locking down spaces, and on top of all that nonsense and nature madness, you're setting up these little vine turrets that can fire off different things. Gaining your last one at 18th levels. And at 5th level, you and your allies gain bonuses to your dex and constitution saves equal to your intel modifier.
As long
Wow.
listen, I know this is pretty video gamey, and like the idea of fleshing it out is gonna be hard, but think of it this way, like you've got your little plant out there and some whatever's coming for your teammates, and then your little plant shoots like vines out that either push your friends out of the way or lift them up, or maybe they even like shoot a piece of bark in front of them when they're about to take like a con hit or something. Like there's ways to flavor it where it makes sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that the fact that you are literally providing them the bonus based on your is such a cool idea to like run the idea that like, oh, you happen to keep herbs of a certain like plants of a certain nature, the aroma of them provides this bonus to everyone around. Like it makes you feel much more limber and full.
Yeah, like it's obviously you're a botanist, you're working with plants and stuff, but there's nothing telling you that it's not like, oh, these special seeds, I grow them under a light from a different plane, and I play the tuning fork from another plane so that they live and grow and they become alive when I actually release them from their seeds and stuff. Like there's so much flavor built into the idea that you're throwing out the turrets. I think it's even more fun than like the little I forgot what the specialist is called, but it's the one that has the tiny turret artificer.
Oh yeah.
Like I think the modified seeds are even more fun than the tiny turret, flavor-wise.
Especially because they gain enhancements at 9th. So, gaining access to blur, spores, and noxious cloud actions. We can't see it on this because it's cut off.
Yeah. We will take you to there when we're done looking through the rest of these abilities, because the stat block has everything on it at once. Stat block.
It buffs, giving a buff to a plant is what rangers want to give to their pets, and what druids should be able to do for their wild shapes at all times. And they're just like, hey, 9th level, you're so much you studied and perfected your soil nutrition regimen and how well you keep and turn your soil and your crop rotations and everything, that you've buffed the seed, that you've grown even better seeds, that you've just produced better seeds, and these seeds can now do even more. That's such an awesome, and you can even start flavoring it as like maybe certain like small like flowers grow off one plant because it does one thing. Like you can play around with it in so many. Maybe you give each plant like a different personality kind of thing.
Like you name each one differently, and basically like the way you flavor it is like, oh, of course, since Fist brought up poison ivy, you obviously got to call one of them Frank.
Oh, yeah.
So like Frank only does slashing vine, the other guy only does blur spores.
I support that, and I like the idea that Dr. Poison Ivy, Dr. Pamela Isley, like you can play that in such a cool way now. And naturally, the only way to capstone this is to truly make you angry when you truly need to do something hectic with your plants. Thorn Week comes into play. And as a reaction, when a plant is destroyed, you cause it to explode. They make a dex save throw against your spell save, and the creature takes piercing damage equal to your level in this class on a failed save. So 15th level, they just take straight 15 damage. 15 piercing damage. No rolls. You've already failed. Kaboom. And on top of it, as an action, you can then cause another intact plant within 30 feet to explode. So if you put all 4 of your plants together, you can cause 60 damage in one to all creatures within 15 feet.
And like they've already served their purpose. So they're going to die anyway. You can cause them to manually explode, but they were going to die anyway. Why not make them go boom? And the cool thing is, as we take a look, so the easy way to get around in the source is just to look up what the closest thing is. So if we look up Thornwake, we'll find the modified plant stat block.
A modified plant.
Your plants are immune to being charmed, frightened, poisoned, blinded, deafened, or incapacitated, and they have resistance to poison, which is actually kind of interesting. But in addition to them being able to explode, they have Slashing Vine, which grapples, so your plants within 15 feet can hold people in place so that when they pop, they're definitely going to hit those targets.
Wow.
You can also make them into heal bots, which is cool. They just puff out some spores. They only do it once per plant, but you don't get a lot of hit points, but considering you're hoping that you have within 15 feet, like your whole team is there, giving them health up to your intelligence modifier could be helpful. In the thick of it, an extra 5 health. Yeah. Oh, you can even wake up your teammates. Didn't think of that either. Yeah. Blur spores is one of my favorites. You release spores that bend light around a target and gives them the blur spell.
Yeah.
It's so
That's
cool. I honestly think this is better than the little turret, and I love the idea because you can make a medium-sized turret or a tiny turret. Sorry, small or medium, and I love the idea of the tiny one being like a wristwatch or something that has a flamethrower. Like, oh, I would love to be a secret agent that way, but I would also love to throw seeds around the battlefield and be like, this is my world now, and you're just living in it.
I'm just
Isn't
imagining. No, go ahead, Dave Lacar.
isn't there a druid circle that has that basically?
Oh, probably Circle of Spores has something very, very similar.
Spores can do odd things, but they really kind of harp on the idea of them reanimating like a lot of like cordyceps idea. It's much more based in like a lot of
Mm.
cordyceps and like reanimation
Yeah.
through fungal reanimation.
Hmm.
Whereas this is definitely like plants as a whole.
Yeah.
It's the entirety of botany. So I
I
think in Circle of Spores, yeah, Circle of Spores is more about decaying what's living, whereas this is much more about growing life.
mm.
Hmm.
So I like that. I like that you could maybe have those two ideas in the same party.
Yeah.
At first, I have in my notes, it's weird that the plants have 0 speed. Like they can't move from where they are. They just come out of the seed until it's time for them to go away. And I was like, it's weird that they're holding people in place, but it makes sense because all of their abilities are within 15 feet. So they're holding on to people to make sure that whenever they do something that might harm them, they'll be there. And also it's good like, oh, if you put them near a point where you're worried people are going to break through, that slashing vine is going to grab them and make sure that the rest of your team has time to go get them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Grapples come in clutch. And new rules, they changed grapples so it's no longer contested checks, it's just a save against your spell save DC. So it depends on what your players want to do. If you've already been playing, you could change it up. You don't have to. People are upset that now they won't get bonuses because it's just based on your spell save DC. Like, I could understand that. But if you're a big, strong guy, your spell save DC is probably going to be high anyway.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think like I said before, I think this would work for a druid as this is a subclass.
Mm-hmm. Minor tweaks. Minor tweaks?
Yeah.
Minor tweaks. There we go.
But overall, I think all these subclasses are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huge fan. Adventurous Gur, you did an amazing job. And also, I just want to use these modified plants as regular enemies like all the time.
Oh,
They're great.
there is something to scaring your party of them walking into a garden, sitting very calmly in the middle.
You know what I was thinking would be these would be the perfect creatures to provide backup to. Oh no, I forgot the creature's name. But the thing that we fought, that hanging tree thing, that apparently is like a rite of passage for people playing D&D. Everyone has a story about fighting that one creature that's just like it grew on like a old battlefield, and all the dead bodies nurtured the soil that made it grow. I can't think of the creature's name. I don't think it's a hanging tree, but it is something like that.
Hmm.
These modified plants everywhere in that same vicinity. That would be amazing.
That yes,
The horror.
it's horrifying, but that's a good way to die.
Please. He said, "I want to
So
make puddings fight in a ring like they're like I'm Michael Vick."
I hate it.
There's something wrong with you.
That's really. I think that's the best way to ever put it. But no matter what, you've enjoyed yourself here, guys, tonight at the round table.
We got through like what we wanted to get through, almost
We
pretty
did.
much on time. We did good today.
We did.
Yes, we did.
We were successful in achieving our goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you enjoyed us achieving this goal, like, comment, subscribe, click all of the buttons as DM Lacara will always remind you to do, so that you can help us help Okami and not make Steve sad, because nobody wants to make Steve sad.
Yeah, that's just a crime.
It's a crime in every category.
Mm-hmm.
It's a war crime. It's a crime against humanity.
Crime against
I don't know.
puddings.
Yeah, it's just crime.
I
Immediate
gotta
damage.
design. This is gonna be sticking in my head all the time now. I gotta design a map that's got those plants on it. I was thinking of using corrupted ogamic stones soon. They could be the seeds.
Oh no. It's not good when Okami starts making those sounds.
He's contemplating.
Listen, my players last game when it ended, they were like last session, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go back to that place where we almost died, and we're gonna kill everyone who's there." And I was like, "You what now? Okay, if that's what you think is gonna happen, I'm not gonna stop you. I might kill you, but I'm not gonna stop you."
You're probably gonna die, but I'm not gonna stop you.
You got three
Yeah.
new dudes with you. I'm sure it'll turn out better for you this time.
Listen, whenever a player says to me, "Oh, you're just trying to kill me," I always remember that I get to say, "I don't have to try and kill you. The dice will do that for me."
I just
Like,
gotta
I've
disable
written a way
DM
for
Bacon
you to
first.
survive. Absolutely written a way for you to survive. But I also have written many ways, a way for you to die, and for you to survive, but not so happily. So really and truly, just roll the dice, buddy.
So
Only
because
that can
we're
promise
in
you.
the middle of Archibald's archive, there's going to be no poll this week, though I do actually have what the next poll is going to be. We're going to pick up where we left off. So now there's going to be some. Next week we'll start by taking a look at some Artificer infusions. So if you haven't played an Artificer, one of their special thing is that they can basically put spells and abilities into items that they and other party members can use. And those are Artificer infusions. So there's a bunch of those in this supplement, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff after that. I actually think the bulk of the reading, for lack of a better term, we're already all the way through. So we might actually finish next week.
Oh.
Wow.
There's infusions, there's items, there's how to build a golem. There's some races that are in there that have. There's a break when you get down to them where it's like, oh, this has nothing to do with artificers anymore. And then it goes, well, they're okay with mechanics. I was like, you just wanted to put these races in here. That's fine. I don't care. I like it. Give me more stuff. And then back to being artificer stuff. And there's 2 downtime activities. There's a whole section on how you can add botany to your world and how you can add making potions to your world, which is fantastic because that doesn't exist and it should.
I agree.
No, I agree. I think that every word should have
Oh, and there's some spells.
and math. Honestly, there should be at least one arithmetician in every word.
Oh, God.
I just dropped the Ouroboros of education into the chat.
Oh, yes. Oh my God.
Yes. It's fantastic. Remember, if you're on YouTube, all my videos now have in the description a link to the DM Roundtable Red Level Shop. But for those of you on Twitch, I'm gonna throw it in here.
DM Lacara, once again, you
DM
have...
Lacara is coming in clutch.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit the nat 20 once again.
Thank you. I told you I'd get it eventually.
Ouroboros.
It's fantastic.
It's such a... The gown makes it so I didn't even picture the gown.
I wasn't thinking the gown either. I was thinking he was naked, but this is so much better.
Yeah, but the gown? Oh. The gown and the tassel he's so proud.
You said the gown. You said he's eating the gown. That's what took so long. The graduation cap was easy.
It's so perfect. Oh,
You guys are going to have to wait till this design's in the shop. Which will
will.
probably be soon, to be honest.
That'll be in like 10 minutes. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm making sure that they're centered on the imagery right now.
So about 10 minutes, you can find some dope new merch. But in those 10 minutes, again, if you have the time to hit all the buttons humanly possible to help out Okami, please do it. We ask a time.
All the buttons.
Every button that does something good, you hit it. If you hit the dislike button, though, you will be personally sent to the demi-plane of sludge.
Yep.
Listen, to be honest, if you hit the dislike button, I'm the only one who's going to see it, but you're going to push this video through the algorithm, so do whatever you want.
But do it with good button, please.
Yeah. Share. Share is a really good button to hit.
Yeah.
Share is a great button to hit, especially if you have friends.
What are... I got you guys. I can't even say what are friends.
I was going to say, you say that. Watch it. We're sending you to the demi.
Yeah. And if any of you have any suggestions of, I'm going to say homework assignments here, because this happened to be a homework assignment, and I just say whatever the current topic is. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments, or hit us up on Twitter, or come to the Okami Kurai Discord, and throw your suggestions into the Tabletop Schmabletop channel. Like, we love looking at this stuff, and there's so much of it that there's no way any one of us could have possibly seen all of it on the internet.
Yeah.
That would be a lie.
If someone's like, I've read every article on Unearthed Arcana, I'm like, nah, no you haven't.
That'd be like someone going home for a 2-week vacation and being like, I watched Piece.
Oh, nope, don't believe you.
Yeah, okay.
Good story, bro.
Yeah. That was a cute try. Give you an A for effort.
But with that, I think it's time for us to call this session of DM Roundtable quits. So feel free to make sure that you... normally we run the poll, but because there's no poll, because we know exactly what we're doing next week, I will throw the video up with all the information as soon as I can up on YouTube. And if you feel so inclined and you do watch on YouTube as opposed to Twitch, you can come on YouTube once the thing is up and hit notify me, and then YouTube will actually send you a notification on Monday at 8 next week when we start our stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll know. You can come in and hang out with us as we discuss some Artificer infusions. Oh, actually, DM Lacara, you're going to like one of them. One of them is essentially Captain Jack Sparrow's compass that we've mentioned so many times. And I was like,
Seriously?
oh my god, it's here. Someone made it already. Of course they did.
It's about time.
I'm excited to look at some of these. There's one in particular that I saw the name of just now, and I'm giddy.
Is this when we're finally gonna get to the homunculi and stuff?
He never... the only description you're going to get of Sir Percival is at the beginning where it says he's a mortar pot with 2 legs and wings. That's it. He just keeps bringing up Sir Percival and his personality and stuff, and I'm like, show him to me.
No, it's better if we do it.
We will. One of the items is his pestle, which I think is hilarious because it's like, oh, you it's not attached. Like he must actually make his potions and stuff in Sir Percival, which I think is hilarious.
Why?
Because it's like that's his little that's his familiar, and he's like, come here. And he's just mashing things into him.
Yeah, it's like the pots in Duke of Death.
Come here. Stop flying away. I need you.
Yeah.
No, my brains. You don't have any brains. I didn't make you with any.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, we will see you guys. We will see you, players of all classes. Haha, we're gonna get it right eventually. We will see you, players of all classes, next week at 8 Monday Eastern Time. Be there. Be artificery. I don't know. I need a verb for that.
Artificial?
Artificed. There's the word.
Yeah.
Drink the experimental potion and find your way on down.
Don't overdose, though. We're not liable for you
Don't
overdosing.
overdose. Yeah.
It's not worth the 10 feet of speed, okay? Just putting that out there.
The Roundtable is not responsible for how toxic your blood becomes.
And with that, I'm going to stop Twitch. Thank you all for tuning in on Twitch. We'll see you next week.